On the years in 2017, we did have an opportunity at the Blue Ribbon Lobby Day in Austin. We did have an opportunity to speak to Senator Bob Hall in his office with his chief of staff. Her attitude was not very friendly, but anyway, we talked to him about different things about schools and this and that. And toward the end of the meeting, I asked him, I said, well, Senator Hall, why don't you ever have town halls and come out and talk to us so you can let us know what's going on? And he says, well, I will. You just have to ask me. I said, well, I'm asking you now. And he says, well, and he gets his paper and he says, well, we are going to be out there next month. We're going to go to Mesquite and then we're going to come to Rockwall. But of course, we never knew about it. So I said, okay, fine, we'll let everybody know. So they came out on the Friday at the Mesquite, in Mesquite, Texas, which is part of his district. And he had a full house. They were in a community center type setting. And they evidently weren't expecting Democrats to show up. And I know they weren't expecting them to be as vocal as they were, because he was there to give us a video history lesson. And when his history lesson was incorrect, the history teachers and professors that were there had no problem standing up and explaining to him how wrong he was. And so the conversation got heated more and more and more and more and more. And so they ended it. And so then the next day he was coming out to Rockwall. So we had all of our people at the community center, and of course the Republicans were waiting with open arms for him. And our candidate at the time, Kendall Scudder, had given us, who was running against Bob Hall at the time, had given us these little red and green cardboard things. One said agree, one said disagree. So I think it was the green disagree that were constantly up, or whichever one with the disagree was up most of the time. So he comes in there and, his little Republicans are sitting up here and then we're sitting here and more back there. The room is absolutely to the limit full. And he starts with his slideshow. And he has his little security guards positioned all around the room because they're expecting us to do the same thing they did to him in Mesquite, and he's ready for us. So he starts talking and somebody will stand up and ask him a question. Well, he didn't like being interrupted. And so, he would try to answer their question, and because he was only going to give us like 10 minutes worth of questions while he took the whole hour with his slideshow. So our people started getting very vocal. The lady in front of Judith turned around and told her to be quiet. And then...
Did you?
No. Bob Hall's wife was in the back with Kendall, and she told Kendall, you need to control your people. And he said, I can't control anybody. I gave him a card. I can't help it if they're loud, So then the morning progresses and it gets louder and more contentious. And then, so Mrs. Bob Hall comes around to the front and starts pointing her fingers at us like we're bad little children. And y'all need to be quiet and you need to let him finish what he has to say. And we're like, yeah. And so it continues, and then one of his henchmen has to stand up and go, if y'all don't be quiet, we're going to end this meeting. And somebody said, no, you're not. You work for us. You have to answer our questions. And he didn't like that either. So that's what we deal with the Republicans, because they think we don't have a right to say anything. So when we go to lobby days, we try to be calm and we try to place, our opinions and our issues in front of them. We know they're not going to agree with us, but at least, it's like, we're here. We're not going anywhere.